Well, fellow geopolitical enthusiasts, welcome to another captivating Sovereign Diplomat episode. In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most pressing geopolitical issues of our time. From the halls of power in Washington, D.C., to the secretive regime in Pyongyang, we'll unravel the complex web of history, politics, and nuclear ambitions that have brought us to this critical juncture. We'll start by exploring the current state of the US-North Korea nuclear arms race and trace its origins through history. You'll meet the key players shaping this conflict and discover the pivotal moments that have defined their relationship. We'll assess the true threat level of a potential nuclear conflict and its far-reaching consequences. You'll gain insights into the diplomatic efforts to defuse the crisis and the international community's perspective. We'll examine the impact of this standoff on the Korean Peninsula, the surrounding region, and the global stage. Looking ahead, we'll discuss potential future scenarios and their implications for world peace. But that's not all. We'll also delve into the often overlooked aspects of this crisis. How do ordinary citizens in both countries view this nuclear standoff? What are the economic and humanitarian costs of this ongoing tension? These questions and more will be addressed as we paint a comprehensive picture of the situation. So, are you ready to unpack the complexities of the US-North Korea nuclear standoff? Let's begin by examining the current state of the US-North Korea nuclear arms race. As of 2020, the situation remains tense and complex, with both nations maintaining significant nuclear capabilities. North Korea, despite being a small and isolated nation, has made substantial progress in its nuclear program. Estimates suggest that Pyongyang possesses between 20 to 60 nuclear warheads, though the exact number remains uncertain. What's more concerning is their advancing missile technology. In recent years, North Korea has demonstrated the ability to launch intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, potentially capable of reaching the United States. They've also shown progress in developing submarine-launched ballistic missiles, adding a new dimension to their nuclear threat. On the other side, the United States maintains a vast nuclear arsenal of approximately 5,750 nuclear warheads, with about 3,800 of these considered operational. The U.S. nuclear triad, consisting of land-based ICBMs, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, and strategic bombers, provides a robust deterrent capability. Additionally, the U.S. has been investing in modernizing its nuclear forces and developing advanced missile defense systems. Recent developments have only heightened tensions. North Korea has continued to conduct missile tests, including launches of what they claim to be hypersonic missiles and new types of cruise missiles. These tests, often conducted in defiance of UN resolutions, have been met with international condemnation. The US, in response, has maintained its policy of maximum pressure, combining economic sanctions with diplomatic isolation. Despite occasional glimmers of hope, such as the historic summits between US and North Korean leaders in 2018 and 2019, substantive progress towards denuclearization has remained elusive. And talks have stalled, with both sides accusing the other of not meeting commitments. The US insists on complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization, while North Korea demands sanctions relief and security guarantees. This ongoing stalemate has led to a continuing cycle of provocations and countermeasures. North Korea periodically threatens to resume nuclear testing or long-range missile launches, while the US and its allies conduct joint military exercises in the region, which Pyongyang views as rehearsals for invasion. To understand the current nuclear standoff, we need to delve into its historical roots, starting with the Korean War. The conflict, which raged from 1950 to 1953, left an indelible mark on the Korean Peninsula and set the stage for decades of tension. The Korean War began when North Korea, supported by the Soviet Union and China, invaded South Korea. The United States, leading a UN coalition, intervened on behalf of South Korea. The war ended in a stalemate with an armistice signed in 1953. However, this was not a peace treaty, and technically, the two Koreas remain at war to this day. The conflict resulted in a divided peninsula with a heavily fortified demilitarized zone, DMZ, separating North and South. In the aftermath of the war, North Korea, under the leadership of Kim Il-sung, embarked on a path of self-reliance known as Juche. This ideology, combined with the perceived threat from the US and its allies, laid the groundwork for North Korea's pursuit of nuclear weapons. North Korea's nuclear program can be traced back to the 1950s, when it began cooperating with the Soviet Union on nuclear research. By the 1980s, there were clear indications that Pyongyang was pursuing nuclear weapons capability. The country's first nuclear reactor, located in Yongbyon, became operational in 1986. Tensions escalated in the early 1990s when North Korea refused to allow international inspectors full access to its nuclear sites. This led to the first North Korean nuclear crisis in 1994. The crisis was temporarily resolved with the agreed framework, where North Korea agreed to freeze its nuclear program in exchange for aid and civilian nuclear reactors. However, the agreement broke down in the early 2000s amid mutual accusations of non-compliance. In 2003, North Korea withdrew from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, marking a significant milestone in its nuclear ambitions. The country conducted its first nuclear test in 2006, sending shockwaves through the international community. Since then, key milestones in US-North Korea relations have been characterized by cycles of provocation and diplomacy. The six-party talks involving North and South Korea, the US, China, Japan, and Russia attempted to find a peaceful resolution, but ultimately failed. North Korea conducted additional nuclear tests in 2009, 2013, 2016, and 2017, each more powerful than the last. A surprising turn of events occurred in 2018, when North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and US President Donald Trump held a historic summit in Singapore. This was followed by two more meetings in 2019. While these summits were groundbreaking in terms of high-level engagement, they failed to produce concrete results towards denuclearization. Throughout this history, the US policy towards North Korea has oscillated between engagement and pressure, while North Korea has consistently used its nuclear program as a bargaining chip for aid and security guarantees. This complex historical backdrop continues to shape the dynamics of the current nuclear standoff as both nations grapple with deep-seated mistrust and conflicting strategic interests. The US-North Korea nuclear standoff has been significantly influenced by the personalities and policies of key leaders on both sides. Let's examine the major players who have shaped this conflict over the years. On the US side, several administrations have grappled with the North Korean nuclear issue. President Bill Clinton's administration negotiated the agreed framework in 1994, attempting to freeze North Korea's nuclear program. George W. Bush took a harder line, famously including North Korea in his axis of evil. The Obama administration adopted a policy of strategic patience, combining sanctions with openness to dialogue. Donald Trump broke new ground with his personal diplomacy, holding unprecedented summits with Kim Jong-un, though these ultimately failed to produce lasting results. The current Biden administration has sought a middle ground, emphasizing diplomacy while maintaining pressure through sanctions. Key figures in the current administration, such as Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, have been instrumental in shaping this approach. On the North Korean side, the conflict has been dominated by the Kim dynasty. Kim Il-sung, the country's founder, initiated the nuclear program. His son, Kim Jong-il, oversaw North Korea's first nuclear tests and developed the Songun, or military-first policy. The current leader, Kim Jong-un, has accelerated the nuclear program, conducting more tests and advancing missile technology at a rapid pace. Kim Jong-un's leadership style differs from his predecessors. He's shown a willingness to engage in high-level diplomacy, but has also demonstrated an unpredictable and often aggressive approach to international relations. His sister, Kim Yo-jong, has emerged as a powerful figure, often delivering pointed messages to the international community. Other influential figures have played crucial roles in this conflict. On the North Korean side, individuals like Choi Son-hui, the first Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Kim Yong-chol, a top party official and former intelligence chief, have been key in diplomatic negotiations. Military leaders such as Pak Jong-chon, chief of the General Staff, have been instrumental in advancing North Korea's nuclear and missile capabilities. In the broader international context, Chinese President Xi Jinping has been a significant player given China's unique relationship with North Korea. South Korean leaders, including current President Yoon Suk-yeol and his predecessor Moon Jae-in, have also played crucial roles in attempting to mediate the conflict. International diplomats and organizations have also been influential. The efforts of individuals like Christopher Hill, who led the U.S. delegation to the six-party talks, and Siegfried Hecker, a nuclear scientist who has visited North Korea's nuclear facilities, have provided valuable insights and diplomatic channels. The history of U.S.-North Korea relations is marked by several pivotal moments that have shaped the course of their nuclear standoff. The first nuclear crisis in 1994 stands out as a defining moment. Tensions escalated when North Korea announced its intention to withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The situation reached a boiling point, with the Clinton administration even considering military action. However, diplomacy prevailed. Former President Jimmy Carter's intervention paved the way for negotiations, resulting in the agreed framework. This agreement saw North Korea commit to freezing its nuclear program in exchange for aid and 2 light water reactors. While the crisis was averted, the agreement's eventual collapse highlighted the challenges of sustainable diplomatic solutions. The six-party talks, which ran from 2003 to 2009, represented another significant diplomatic effort. These negotiations involved North and South Korea, the United States, China, Japan, and Russia. The talks aimed to find a peaceful resolution to the security concerns raised by North Korea's nuclear program. Despite some initial progress, including a 2005 joint statement where North Korea agreed to abandon its nuclear program, the talks ultimately broke down. North Korea's missile tests and nuclear test in 2006 dealt a severe blow to the process, showcasing the fragility of diplomatic achievements in this complex relationship. Periods of increased tensions and provocations have punctuated U.S.-North Korea relations. The years 2010 to 2017 saw a series of provocative actions by North Korea, including the sinking of a South Korean naval vessel, artillery attacks on South Korean territory, and a string of nuclear and missile tests. These actions led to increased sanctions and international isolation for North Korea. The rhetoric also escalated, with North Korea threatening to turn Seoul into a sea of fire, and the U.S. warning of fire and fury if North Korea threatened American territories. A surprising turn came with the summit meetings and negotiations of 2018 to 2019. The Singapore summit in June 2018 marked the first ever meeting between sitting leaders of the U.S. and North Korea. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed a joint statement pledging to work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. This was followed by the Hanoi summit in February 2019 and a brief meeting at the Korean Demilitarized Zone in June 2019. While these summits were historic in their own right, they failed to produce concrete steps towards denuclearization. The breakdown of the Hanoi talks, in particular, highlighted the deep divisions that remain between the two nations on the path to denuclearization. In the aftermath of these summits, relations have once again cooled. North Korea has resumed missile testing, while the U.S. has maintained its sanctions regime. The COVID-19 pandemic further complicated diplomatic efforts, with North Korea closing its borders and limiting international engagement. Let's now turn our attention to assessing the current nuclear threat level, examining both North Korea's capabilities and the United States' deterrence and defense systems. North Korea's nuclear and missile capabilities have advanced significantly in recent years, raising serious concerns in the international community. While the exact extent of their nuclear arsenal remains uncertain, experts estimate that North Korea possesses between 20 to 60 nuclear warheads. However, it's not just the number of warheads that's concerning, but also the rapid advancement in delivery systems. Pyongyang has made substantial progress in its missile technology. They've successfully tested intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, that theoretically could reach the United States. The Hwasong-15 ICBM tested in 2017 demonstrated a potential range of over 13,000 kilometers, putting most of the globe within reach. More recently, North Korea has claimed successful tests of hypersonic missiles, which, if true, would present a new level of threat due to their speed and maneuverability. Moreover, North Korea has been working on diversifying its nuclear delivery systems. They've made strides in developing submarine-launched ballistic missiles, SLBMs, which could significantly enhance their second strike capability. There's also evidence suggesting they're working on multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle MIR-V technology, which would allow a single missile to carry multiple warheads. However, it's crucial to note that while North Korea has made these advancements, questions remain about the reliability and accuracy of their systems, the operational readiness of their nuclear forces, and the miniaturization of warheads to fit on missiles are areas of ongoing debate among experts. On the other side, the United States possesses a formidable nuclear deterrent and a multi-layered missile defense system. The U.S. nuclear triad, consisting of land-based ICBMs, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, and strategic bombers, provides a robust and diverse nuclear force. This ensures a credible deterrent by guaranteeing a second strike capability even in the face of a surprise attack. In terms of missile defense, the U.S. has invested heavily in systems designed to counter the North Korean threat. The ground-based mid-course defense GMD system, with interceptors based in Alaska and California, is specifically designed to defend against ICBMs. Additionally, the U.S. has deployed Terminal High Altitude Area Defense THAAD systems in South Korea and Guam, and Aegis ballistic missile defense systems on naval vessels in the Pacific. These defense systems, while technologically advanced, are not foolproof. Intercepting ICBMs, especially those with decoys or MIRV capabilities, remains a significant challenge. The effectiveness of these systems against newer threats like hypersonic missiles is also a matter of ongoing development and debate. The overall nuclear threat level, therefore, is a complex equation. While North Korea's nuclear capabilities pose a serious concern, the U.S. maintains a significant military and technological edge. The real danger lies not just in the raw capabilities, but in the potential for miscalculation or escalation in a crisis situation. The possibility of a limited nuclear exchange, even if not intended, cannot be entirely ruled out, making continued diplomatic efforts and arms control measures crucial for regional and global security. While the possibility of a nuclear conflict between the United States and North Korea remains low, the potential consequences are so catastrophic that they demand our serious consideration. The immediate impact on the Korean Peninsula would be nothing short of apocalyptic. Even a limited nuclear exchange would result in unprecedented devastation. Major cities like Seoul and Pyongyang, with their dense populations, would face unimaginable destruction. The death toll from immediate blasts, radiation, and subsequent fallout could reach into the millions. Critical infrastructure, including power plants, transportation networks, and communication systems, would be obliterated, plunging the peninsula into chaos. The path to resolving the US-North Korea nuclear crisis has been long and fraught with challenges, marked by a series of negotiations, agreements, and setbacks. The 1994 agreed framework stands out as an early diplomatic success, where North Korea agreed to freeze its plutonium weapons program in exchange for aid. However, its collapse in 2002 amid mutual accusations of non-compliance highlighted the fragility of such deals. The subsequent six-party talks, initiated in 2003, brought together key regional players in an attempt to find a comprehensive solution. These talks produced several joint statements and agreements, including a 2005 statement where North Korea agreed to abandon its nuclear weapons program. Yet progress was short-lived, with North Korea's first nuclear test in 2006 demonstrating the challenges of maintaining diplomatic momentum. More recent initiatives have shown a mix of promise and disappointment. The 2018 Singapore summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un was a historic moment, resulting in a joint statement committing to complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. This was followed by the Hanoi summit, which, despite high hopes, ended without an agreement. These summits, while groundbreaking in terms of high-level engagement, ultimately failed to produce concrete steps towards denuclearization. Current diplomatic efforts are in a state of relative stagnation. The Biden administration has expressed openness to diplomacy, offering to meet with North Korean officials without preconditions. However, North Korea has shown little interest in engaging, instead focusing on advancing its weapons programs. The US and North Korea have fundamentally different understandings of what denuclearization means and how it should be achieved, with the US typically insisting on complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization, while North Korea seeks a more gradual approach with concurrent benefits. The interests of other regional powers, particularly China and South Korea, can both facilitate and complicate bilateral negotiations. Despite these challenges, diplomacy remains the most viable path to resolving the crisis. Future efforts will likely need to focus on building trust through smaller, verifiable agreements before tackling the larger issue of complete denuclearization. Creative approaches, patience, and sustained engagement from all parties involved will be crucial in navigating the complex landscape of US-North Korea relations and working towards a peaceful resolution to this long-standing nuclear standoff. The path to peace is often long and challenging, but it's a journey we must undertake for the sake of global security and the future of our planet. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more geopolitical stories. With that said, thanks for watching.